America on Edge, 10 explosive headlines rocking the nation. Good morning, I'm Brian James, and this is TrendWave News TV. Today America finds itself at a crossroads. In just the past 10 days, we've witnessed a political assassination, a looming government shutdown, clashes over immigration, and a shift in the very identity of the U.S. military. For viewers across the Caribbean diaspora and around the world, these headlines matter, because when America shifts, the ripple effects reach every shore. Stay with us as we break down 10 of the most urgent stories shaking the United States right now, giving you not just the facts, but the fallout, the human stories, and what it all means for you. The assassination of Charlie Kirk. On September 10th, political violence erupted in Utah. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while speaking at Utah Valley University. The shooter, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, was arrested after a massive manhunt. The shot, fired from the rooftop of a nearby building, struck Kirk in the neck as students and supporters watched in horror. He was rushed to hospital, but tragically, did not survive. Authorities say Robinson was armed with a high-powered rifle. Disturbingly, ammunition recovered had markings connected to internet memes, raising questions about radicalization and online extremism. This assassination has triggered a nationwide debate. Is political rhetoric fueling violence? Some conservatives blame the radical left, while others warn against inflamed language that only deepens division. Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, has vowed to continue his work. The country now faces not just grief, but urgent questions about the safety of public figures and the state of democracy itself. Up next, government shutdown looms. Meanwhile, Washington faces a high-stakes standoff. With the fiscal year ending on September 30th, the U.S. government risks a shutdown. At the heart of the battle, critical healthcare funding that affects millions. Democrats are demanding the extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies that keep premiums affordable. Republicans are pushing back, with a key faction in the House calling for deep spending cuts as a condition for their support. This creates a deep political divide that complicates any path to a resolution. For families relying on ACA subsidies, a shutdown isn't an abstract fight. It means losing healthcare or paying hundreds more a month. And for federal employees, it means delayed paychecks and furloughs, disrupting key government services. With just days left, pressure mounts on lawmakers to compromise. If they fail, millions of Americans could be left in limbo. Story number 3, drop in consumer sentiment. A new University of Michigan survey reveals consumer confidence has dropped to 55.4. This reverses a recent trend of cautious optimism and marks its lowest level since May, suggesting growing household unease. The reasons? Persistent inflation remains the primary culprit, with consumers still feeling the pinch from high prices. This is now compounded by growing fears of a weakening job market and a potential recession. For everyday Americans, this isn't just a number, it's the family struggling to fill their grocery cart. It's the retiree worried their savings won't stretch. It's also the young couple putting the dream of buying a first home on hold. Economists warn that if consumer spending slows, it could drag the economy down further. A dangerous cycle where lower spending leads to business cutbacks. Up next, the National Guard in Memphis. President Trump has proposed sending National Guard troops to Memphis to tackle a persistent surge in violent crime. Supporters champion the move as a necessary step to restore safety and order. However, critics immediately warned it could be unconstitutional, potentially violating the Posse Comitatus Act, which restricts using the military for civilian law enforcement. This blurs a fundamental line in American governance. For Memphis residents, the proposal raises tough, immediate questions. Will it bring peace, or will the sight of soldiers on their streets only escalate tension and fear? Story number 5, Pentagon rebrand, Department of War. In a highly controversial move, the Trump administration has rebranded the Pentagon, renaming the Department of Defense as the Department of War. This reverts the name to what it was called prior to 1947. The administration claims the change reflects honesty about its purpose, but critics argue it signals a dangerous shift from a posture of national defense to one of overt aggression. For veterans and military families, the name resonates deeply, echoing an era when the nation defined itself by conflict and stirring complex emotions about service and sacrifice. Up next, ICE raid at Georgia, Hyundai plant. In Georgia, a massive new Hyundai battery plant, a key part of the U.S. electric vehicle supply chain, became the site of a major ICE raid. Hundreds of South Korean workers were detained, with officials alleging widespread visa violations. The raid sparked immediate outrage from South Korea's government, a key U.S. ally, which condemned the action as disproportionate and warned of diplomatic fallout. The move left many questioning the administration's immigration priorities. Imagine arriving for a regular shift at a flagship industrial project, and instead being swept into an immigration crackdown. For many, that's exactly what happened, throwing their lives and a multi-billion-dollar project into chaos. Story number 7. Federal Court versus Posse Comitatus. A federal court has delivered a significant ruling, stating that the deployment of federal forces into domestic policing may violate the Posse Comitatus Act. This cornerstone of American law, enacted after the Reconstruction era, strictly prevents the military from acting as a civilian police force. The case stems from the controversial use of federal agents during protests, which critics argued blurred these critical lines. This ruling could profoundly limit presidential power and is already reshaping the fierce national debate on federal versus local authority. Legal experts predict a protracted battle that could reach the Supreme Court. It's a fundamental constitutional clash that could ultimately define the boundaries of executive power and U.S. democracy for generations to come. Headline number 8. Boston Sanctuary City Lawsuit. The Justice Department has sued Boston over its sanctuary city policy, known as the Boston Trust Act. The ordinance limits cooperation between local police and federal immigration authorities, preventing officers from detaining individuals solely on behalf of ICE. Federal officials argue the policy obstructs immigration enforcement and compromises public safety. Conversely, city leaders defend it as essential for building trust, ensuring that all residents, regardless of status, feel safe reporting crimes without fear of deportation. This legal showdown is being watched closely across the country, as the outcome could set a major precedent for how cities nationwide navigate federal immigration law. Headline number 9. One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Adding another volatile element to the government shutdown puzzle is the provocatively named One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Championed by proponents as a path to fiscal discipline, the bill is packed with deep healthcare cuts targeting programs like Medicare and Medicaid, and is drawing fierce, unified resistance from Democrats who call it an assault on the social safety net. For millions of seniors and low-income families, the stakes could not be higher. The proposed cuts could translate directly into fewer benefits, higher out-of-pocket costs, and a future with far less medical and financial security. And headline number 10, Political Rhetoric and Divisions. Finally, in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, political rhetoric has only intensified. Calls for unity clash with finger-pointing. Free speech debates rage on campuses. Families are torn apart at the dinner table over politics. The question is simple, but urgent. Can America find common ground, or are these divisions here to stay? These 10 stories, from tragedy on a campus stage to the halls of Congress to immigrant factories and city streets, paint a picture of a nation on edge. But beyond the headlines, they represent real people, students, families, workers, and citizens facing an uncertain future. Here at TrendWave News TV, we'll continue to connect the dots, giving you the full story with a global perspective. If this report gives you clarity and perspective, make sure you subscribe to TrendWave News TV. Hit that notification bell, drop a comment below with your thoughts, and most importantly, click the links in the description for special resources and exclusive products that support this channel and keep you informed.